10 secrets of Gran's gravy. Nobody makes anymore. The one ingredient she never admitted to. Gran's gravy was different. Everyone who sat at that table knew it. Nobody could explain it. It wasn't thicker. It wasn't richer in the way you could point to. It was just more. More of everything. More depth. More color. More of that thing that makes you go quiet at the first spoonful. I make gravy now. I follow the same steps. Same tin, same flour, same stock. And it's fine, but it's not Gran's. There's always something missing. Until I watched her closely enough. 10 secrets. That's all it was. 10 things she did without thinking that changed everything. Stay until the end. Because the last one is the ingredient she never admitted to. The one I only found out about by accident. The first secret was the roasting tin on the hob. Gran never made gravy in a separate pan. The roasting tin went straight onto the hob over medium heat the moment the meat came out. All those dark bits stuck to the bottom, the caramelized juices, the fat, the concentrated meat. That was the gravy. Already there, already built. She just had to release it. That tin was the gravy. Everything else was just building on what was already perfect. The second secret was leaving the fat in. Gran never poured the fat away before making gravy. Never. She tilted the tin, spooned off most of the clear fat from the surface, but left the dark drippings underneath. That dark layer at the bottom of the tin, that's where all the flavor lives. Color, depth, everything. The clear fat goes, the dark stays, always. The third secret was the flour cooked properly. Gran added a tablespoon of plain flour directly into the hot tin, and she cooked it. For 2 full minutes, stirring constantly with a wooden spoon, scraping up every dark bit from the bottom as she went. That flour had to cook in the fat before any liquid went in. If you add the liquid too soon, the gravy tastes of raw flour. Of nothing. 2 minutes. No shortcuts. Do you remember that smell? Flour toasting in meat fat? That smell was the gravy beginning. The fourth secret was red wine first, not stock first. Wine. A good splash of red wine went in after the flour. The sizzle was extraordinary. Gran stirred fast, scraping everything up, letting the wine reduce almost completely before the stock went in. That reduction concentrated the wine, burned off the alcohol, left only the depth, the color. The thing that made the gravy taste like it had been cooking for hours, even when it hadn't. Most people skip the wine. Gran never did, not once. The fifth secret was homemade stock. Not a cube, not a carton. Stock she'd been simmering since the day before. Chicken carcass, onion, carrot, celery, bay leaf, peppercorns, 6 hours minimum. That stock went into the gravy hot, always hot, never cold, and the difference it made was immediate. The gravy went from thin and pale to rich and glossy in minutes. A stock cube makes gravy that tastes of a stock cube. Homemade stock makes gravy that tastes of everything that went into it. There's no shortcut here. Gran knew that. She started the stock on Saturday for Sunday's gravy. The sixth secret was never stopping stirring. From the moment the liquid went in until the gravy was done, Gran stirred. Not frantically, steadily. With that wooden spoon that had been in the family since before she was married. Constant motion prevented lumps, kept everything moving, allowed her to feel when the gravy was thickening, when it was ready. She didn't need to see it, she could feel it through the spoon. That sensitivity, knowing by touch, that takes years. That takes every Sunday for 50 years. Have you ever made gravy with lumps and not known why? It stopped moving. That's why. The seventh secret was seasoning at the end. Never at the beginning, never in the middle. Only when the gravy was done, off the heat at the very end. Gran tasted it, added salt if it needed it, pepper always, and then tasted again. Gravy that's seasoned too early loses the seasoning as it reduces. What tastes right at the start tastes wrong at the end. Gran understood this without being able to explain it. She just knew. Season at the end, always at the end. The eighth secret was a knob of cold butter. This one nobody expects. When the gravy was perfect, Right consistency, right color, right flavor. Gran took it off the heat and added a small knob of cold butter, stirred it in quickly, completely. The cold butter emulsified into the hot gravy, created that glossy shine, that silky texture, that richness that makes restaurant gravy look different from home gravy. It's not magic, it's cold butter. Off the heat. At the very last moment, this is what chefs call mounting. Gran called it finishing. She did it every single Sunday. The 9th secret was resting it. Gran made the gravy early, 10–15 minutes before everything was on the table. Then she put it in the warmed gravy boat and left it. Let it rest, let the flavors settle, let the temperature even out. Gravy that goes straight from the pan to the table is hotter in the middle than at the edges. Gravy that rests for 10 minutes is consistent, even, better. The table was always set before the gravy was made. That wasn't efficiency, that was the secret. And now the 10th secret, the one she never admitted to. The one I found out about only because I walked into the kitchen quietly one Sunday morning when she thought I was watching the football. The gravy was almost done. Everything was nearly ready. Gran opened the jar of Marmite. She dipped the handle of a teaspoon in, not even the bowl of the spoon, the handle, and stirred that tiny amount into the gravy. It dissolved instantly, left no trace. You couldn't taste it specifically. But without it, something was missing. That darkness, that savoriness, that thing that made Gran's gravy different from every other gravy I'd ever tasted. Marmite in gravy is not new. Professional kitchens use it. But Gran was doing it in a kitchen in the north of England in 1968 because she'd discovered it herself. Through trial, through attention, through 50 years of making gravy every Sunday and always trying to make it slightly better. These were the 10 secrets of Gran's gravy. The roasting tins straight onto the hob, leaving the dark drippings in. Flour cooked for 2 full minutes. Red wine reduced before the stock. Homemade stock made the day before, never stopping stirring. Seasoning only at the very end. Cold butter off the heat, resting in the warmed gravy boat, and the handle of a teaspoon of Marmite that nobody was supposed to see. None of this is complicated. None of it requires expensive ingredients or professional training. It requires attention, patience, the willingness to stand at the hob and stir for 20 minutes because you understand that what you're making matters. Gran's gravy wasn't an accident. It was the result of 50 years of Sundays, of paying attention, of never being satisfied with good enough, of always asking, what would make this slightly better? That question is the real secret, the one that doesn't fit in a list. Tell us in the comments. Did your Gran have a secret ingredient in her gravy? Something she never admitted to? Every secret shared keeps a Sunday alive. Leave a like if this took you back. Subscribe for more secrets that our grandmothers knew and nobody is teaching anymore.